And welcome back, guys. Today we have we're gonna do a comparison video. We're gonna go from last year's model to this year's model on the HY300. So we're gonna show you guys here the difference between the two models, last year's and then the Pro version of this year's. If you guys are brand new to the channel, consider subscribing, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. As you guys know, I try to get you guys here all the latest and greatest stuff here. And from Topleo, this is a really good projector to compare the two, so that way when you guys are purchasing it, you guys can see what to get. So first thing is the old one is going to be at 200 lumens, while the new one is going to be at 280. So you get 80 additional lumens on the new one. They're both going to be at 720p, and the lamp life is similar. The Bluetooth is going to be the identical. And then you do have your distance. Now with your distance, you're going to get a bigger screen on this one, on the smaller one, versus the older one. And I'm going to show you guys that in a minute. They both can do 40 to 130 inch screens. However, when you put them both side by side, the short throw one, the smaller one, will get you a bigger screen versus the old model. So keep that in mind. Okay. Gonna move this out of the way and going to show you guys here exactly how both of these look like. So here it is. You have this one that's going to be slightly taller, while this one's going to be slightly smaller. When it comes to the keystone here, the newer one just seems a little bit more put together better, just feels a little bit more premium, while the old one feels a little bit more loose. When it comes to the, I guess the circular of it, the circumference, the smaller one is slightly smaller around, which is interesting. And it looks like the eyeballs are actually, the smaller one, the newer one is actually smaller too. So everything is smaller on the Pro version, but when you put them side by side distance and you're flashing them both, the smaller one's going to get you the bigger screen, which is pretty nice. Bigger screen, and you don't have to pull the projector as far out. As far as the back goes, they're both going to be identical. So you're both going to have your power, you're both going to have your USB, both going to have the audio jack or the headset jack. You both do have HDMI and of course the power. Now if I remember, and I believe it's going to be this remote right here. Yep, it's going to be this remote. It should be the same for both of them. Very, very simple how this remote is. So pause the video if you need to see this. There's nothing down here at the bottom, but there it is. You should get a power cable, HDMI, and then the remote. Batteries are not included, so make sure you do pick up 2 AAAs. So both projectors are going to look the same. We're going to put them both side by side, and we're going to move one screen. We're going to tilt one up, and we'll have one facing down. That way we have them like this. Now theoretically, when you have a further distance, you have your screen that's going to be much bigger. What we're going to do with these two is we're going to have them side by side. This one's going to be projecting at a further distance because it's pointing upwards. So it's, instead of pointing it like this, for this one, it's going to be like this, which is longer distance to get there, versus this one, which is much shorter distance to get there. As you can see, it's like about a hand. And if I just move my hand over here, it's about 2 hands to get there. So yeah, let's go ahead and plug these both in and see if it's worth upgrading to the Pro. Okay, so here are both projectors, and as you can see, I do have the little one pointing straight and the bigger one pointing upwards, which means theoretically the bigger one should have a bigger screen. But because the short throw has that better and newer technology where you don't have to back it up so far, the distance, you can get a bigger screen versus the older version. So you guys can see here, I'll go ahead and back you guys up just a tad. You guys can see the difference between the top one, which again will be this one, and then you have your short throw one, which is giving you that really big, much bigger screen. All right, we're gonna turn off the lights here, and I'm gonna show you guys how it works. Just a simple test between the two. So let's go ahead and open up YouTube, and you can see both of them open up really, really fast. The bottom, the Pro version, launched it almost instant, where last year's model was just a little bit slower. If you do come here to the search options, I'm using one remote to control both because it uses the same receiver, so I should be able to do this at the exact same time. Okay, so we're gonna check out one of my videos on YouTube. I'm gonna hit OK on both and see how long it takes for them to both to load. All right, so there you go. Both of them are going off at the same time. Looks like the bottom one is running a lot smoother than the top one. They both connected to the same stuff. Everything is really good, but you could definitely see the difference between the two, where the bottom one just looks a lot smoother and is just running a lot better. Now, for those of you guys who might be wondering, well, maybe if you tilt one up and one down, there might be a difference between the two. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm gonna move the bottom one up, and I'm gonna move the other one down. So if you guys can see there is still a major difference, where the last year's model is still much smaller than this year's model, the new one, the Pro version. So yeah, look at the difference between the two. Now, if I do put them both side by side, facing frontwards, and I know it's kind of hard to see both of them there, so I'll cover the small one. So this is the small one that I'm covering, and you can see how much bigger it is. Just way bigger on the Pro version. Now I'll move last year's version right back up to where it was before, and again, you could definitely see the difference between the two, and you could definitely see how the Pro version is just running much, much smoother, much better. Quality looks really good. Everything is just better within that new one. So I'm kind of curious. So just testing the two mics out, they both sound pretty similar. I think because the speaker inside is small anyways. You're not going to tell much of a difference between the dBs between one or the other. The Pro version does sound slightly better if you are nitpicking some of the decibels on there, but again, you could see the quality and the difference and the size on both speakers. And again, we are using them both side by side. So just cranking on the lights so that way you guys can see I'm not lying. Here's the smaller one. You could definitely tell that's smaller compared to the bigger one. So yeah, very good, and big difference between the two. So let me know what you guys think. You guys could definitely tell they're both right there. You can see the top one over here. I'm pointing it upwards, the old last year's model. And then here's the newer version, and you could definitely tell that there's a big difference between Pro and not Pro. So if you want a bigger one, get the new model. I highly recommend getting the new model. Always when I see something new, I want to get whatever is the latest and greatest stuff. And right now, that one just works really well. It really depends on what your use case is, what your budget is, like whatever it is that you want. If you're okay with last year's model and you really don't care on the size difference, and maybe price factor might be something that is in your budget, then maybe last year's model could do fine. It works really good. It's not like it doesn't work. It works great. You could just get a much bigger screen with the Pro version, and again, the Lumens is going to be a little bit better. The quality is going to be a little bit better. Everything is, obviously it's a Pro version, so it's going to be a little bit better. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below with the two comparisons of these two projectors. Pretty amazing stuff. And if you guys want to buy one, check the description below. I'm going to leave a link so that way you guys get all situated and hooked up with some really good stuff here. With all that being said, you guys take care of each other. See you guys in the next one.